Welcome to the Culture Shock Podcast on the Dynasty DNA Podcasting Network, where Big Culture Bob breaks down the 5 things that stood out this week in the NFL, the good, the bad, and the ugly of NFL and Dynasty Fantasy Football topics every week. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And here is your Culture Shock host, TJ Blake.
Welcome back, DNA Strand crew, to the newest episode of the Culture Shock, live here from the Fantasy Football Expo. And of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Big Culture Bob Helfert. You can follow him over on X at Big E Fat Bob. And I'll be your host as always, TJ Blake. You can follow me over on X at FFTJ Blake DNA. Big Culture Bob, live from the Expo. The first time the Culture Shock together, you and I, and it's kind of exciting. You having a good weekend?
Yeah, it's been a great time. The biggest hang-up I got with this, TJ, is you start keeping me out till midnight, and then you're like, oh, we got to record at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, and you want me to you actually want me to think about topics and be quasi, intelligent about things. I don't know. You might be pushing a little too far.
Asking a little too much out of the cultured one. But we're here and we're ready as always. And you know what, Bob? I knew you could handle it. If I didn't know you could handle it, I wouldn't have pushed you. But I know you can handle it. And let's just say this: we come up with a good one. 5 Big Culture Bob guarantees for the 2026 NFL season, whether it be about players, teams, anything that you want to talk about. Let's just get into it right now.
I'm going to start out with the big one in the room, and we've already kind of hit on this, but it's very prominent, I think, for our leagues and stuff. I bet we're going to have a minimum of 8 new teams with starting quarterbacks next year. I don't even know that I need to worry about the accuracy of the count, because I think 8's very conservative. The Jets, obviously. I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina's got a new QB. I don't think that Atlanta's going to roll with that left-handed mess again next year. Cleveland's definitely going to have a new QB. Pittsburgh will have a new QB because, so just off the top of my head without having my list in front of me, we're going to have turnover at the QB position. The NFL, not for long. We're going to have more rollover. Next year's supposed to be a big QB draft. I'm starting to hear negative things about the QB class again, but it's more or less these guys have got to improve. Well, of course they got to improve, but the NCAA is not there to develop our QBs. These guys need to go get coaching elsewhere outside the parameters of the NFL and the college ranks and stuff like that, because they're just not going to get taught like they need to be taught. This isn't high school anymore. They're not going to get taught, the fundamentals of throwing a football. Most college coaches would just prefer that if you don't see that first or second read, just go ahead and pull the ball down and run with it. They're worried about winning in college, not necessarily worried about grooming players. The reason I want to mention this, and we talk about a couple of these backup guys ad nauseum, but I really think that Mac Jones will find a work somewhere. Tanner McKee, I think, is one that it wouldn't surprise me. Philadelphia honestly could switch quarterbacks, and that would not blow my mind at all.
So let me just say, Bob, you're off to a heater already, and I know that you love to talk about this quarterback mess, and I know that you love to talk about these teams that, have all this turnover all the time, and you're right. This is going to be a big turnover year, right? I mean, there's some years where we see 3-4 teams, and, it's obvious that they need help at the quarterback position, but as you mentioned, the Steelers are going to be in an awkward place. I mean, you know how the Eagles' patience is as far as Jalen Hurts. I know a lot of people don't think that, but you got to think ahead, right? Like, if they come out and have a disastrous season, that could be entirely possible, because they are an organization and a team that, what have you done for me lately, right? I mean, that's just how it is. We see them fire offensive coordinators like that. They don't play around. Now, I mean, I would be more on the betting side that Hurts is probably going to be there, but, I mean, if it is a 5-6 win season, you never know. That's in the back of your mind. I know Carolina with Bryce Young. You can't look at Carolina, and we kind of chuckled around and joked about Baker Mayfield maybe reuniting with Dave Canales there in Carolina. If you're the Carolina Panthers and, you have this offseason and everything's in place but this one position, we've seen the Browns do it with Deshaun Watson. Now, the Browns are stupid, right? I mean, but they thought they were upgrading, and clearly they weren't. But Carolina definitely could upgrade that position. That's an entirely possible situation, right? I mean, the Arizona Cardinals, as you mentioned, the Vegas Raiders with Kirk Cousins and Mendoza. I mean, if it starts out as Cousins and they go off decent, that could change. So, and who knows what happens in Minnesota, right? Yeah. I mean, like, I think Kyler Murray's probably going to be playing decent there this year. It's all up to him. We always talk about that. But, I mean, if it doesn't go well, is it J.J. McCarthy again maybe in 2027? Do they go out and make a big splash? So, definitely a lot of turmoil at the quarterback position going into next season. You're absolutely right about that, Bob. And, you know, you kind of get ahead of this stuff, and we'll be on it. And that's what I can't wait is to just diagnose some of these teams and, like, who might be better off and who might be more behind the eight ball. And that's a lot to talk about. But you're right, absolutely right. And, I mean, a lot of people are expecting Arch Manning to fail. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I think that he's going to come out and play well. And, you know, what we've seen last year was a little bit development down the stretch with him, just like we've seen with some of these quarterbacks in the pros. They bring in more help at Texas, right? Lenore Sellers has a high ceiling as far as athleticism. I mean, he's got to get the coaching. I think that is a big problem down there in South Carolina. We'll see, you know, but, you know, I definitely think that this could be similar to the 2024 class in the aspect of, like, we could see easily 4 guys go in the first round yet again.
Yeah, I think that's probably a given. There's much more than 4 guys really off the top of my head.
And I'm just saying, like, I'm just using that as a solid for sure. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there could be fall off with a couple of these guys, and they could drop out of the first round. I mean, hell, look at Drew Aller. I mean, he was supposed to be a first-round pick this last draft, and, I mean, we've seen what happened there, right? I mean, it just didn't pan out. So some of these guys could fall off. But, I mean, there's definitely going to be, I would say, if I was a betting man, I could guarantee you 4 that will be in the first round for sure.
Well, and there's also the adverse, right? Like, we've always got a guy that comes out of nowhere. I mean, like, nobody really thought Fernando Mendoza was going to be the 101 pick. Cam Ward was going to be the 101 pick. Now, those are kind of both down classes, but, you know, you still got guys that come out of nowhere. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we got 8 new starting quarterbacks. I mean, that may be a high number, but I don't think so. I mean, I really think it's probably, you know, it just is what it is. And it's like, it doubles down on what we talked about a little bit yesterday, just walking around. 19 new offensive play callers, you know, so that's 19 new offenses that are getting installed this year that 19 quarterbacks are going to have to, you know, adjust to. Whether or not they adjust properly or, you know, they line up, you know, they get the wheels underneath them per se early. And I mean, success is what keeps these guys around. And that's, you know, one of my favorite quarterbacks, you know, as far as they got drafted, Justin Fields. I mean, the system absolutely ruined him, and he never got straight. And it just got worse and worse and worse.
Okay, Big Culture. Guarantee number 2 for the 2026 season. What do you have?
We're going to have a lot of very deep wide receivers that perform really, really well. And there's 2 that really stick out of my head. And then I just wanted to be like, you know, players. But I think I've talked about all 3 of these guys. But, man, Jalen Coker, Jalen McMillan, and Oscar Delp all pop into my head as guys I just think that are going to skyrocket up boards. I think we're going to have a little bit of turnover in these high-end spots. Like, Mike Evans is going to start falling off. You know, whether or not he's a good wide receiver 2 this year, I think we're going to have some turnover at that position, really. Guys that I think will fall out. Like, I was trying to scroll through here, and does Drake London maintain his value? If that QB situation goes to piss, then, like, I don't know how Drake London maintains. There's guys that are going to come out of nowhere. I think last year was really a down year as far as throwing goes. So I think some of the stuff is going to rise back up, and people are going to be, oh, my gosh, I cannot believe this guy got 1,000 yards. Well, I mean, the whole league rose back up. I don't think we're going to have, you know, was it last year that, like, the top 15 running backs all, like, really were really healthy?
Yeah.
So, like, is that ever going to happen again? I think we're going to – maybe my guarantee should be, like, we're going to have RB injuries this year. Start backfilling your RBs, but then expect your wide receivers to come up. Like, that's probably the best way to say this, in all honesty. Don't think your RB room's bulletproof. You know what I mean? We're going to have more injuries. Pay attention to secondary running backs, and even guys third on the depth chart, fourth on the depth chart, because eventually somebody's going to pop. We're going to get some out of nowhere guys. Nicholas Singleton, pops into my head. And of course, these are guys we just drafted yesterday. So that makes them fresh in my brain. But Jonah Coleman from Denver. First off, Dobbins has really never ever stayed healthy, and then you got R.J. Harvey in front of him that I don't see as a big roadblock. I just think we're going to have a lot more fantasy viable running backs this year. There's just not going to be there's not going to be the health that there was this year. Count on bad health.
Yeah, especially at the running back position, and you're absolutely right. Like, it's an anomaly that all these guys stay healthy. I mean, especially when you see guys like Christian McCaffrey, and God forbid, but we know he's kind of an every other year type of guy that's kind of banged up. Saquon Barkley, I mean, I'm kind of concerned. Like, I'm happy having him. I'm kind of concerned about all the carries he's going to get. But, just to revisit your wide receiver talk, Bob, you're absolutely right. There's going to be a little bit of a changing of the guard at that position. And we talk about some of these players, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Coker, right? Jaden Reed. Like, there's some guys down there, Matthew Golden. Like, I mean, there's going to be someone that's going to come up. Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. Mike Evans, Devontae Adams. There's guys in the age pool that are going to, it's just coming to the end. It just is. I mean, you still want to have those guys on your team if you're a contending roster this year. It's not that I don't believe in them. It's just that their time's short, and someone's going to come up, and they're going to try to fill those spots. And then I like all those players. And, I don't know how you feel about this, Bob, but, like, when I'm drafting right now, it seems like there is a lot of value at wide receiver, right? I mean, like, last year, I preached about the fact that, like, I got Michael Wilson in the 20th round in a lot of dynasty startups, right? I mean, this year, I think it's even better because you got guys like those players I mentioned that you can get, I don't know, ninth round on? I mean, like, it starts really getting deep right around there. I mean, you can still backfill. Like, I know that, like, when you're drafting in startups and things of that nature, sometimes you feel like, I got to get these players or I'm going to run out of time, right? I think the wide receiver pool this year specifically is a time where you could wade a little bit deeper in that pool, post 8th, 9th round, and you can maybe find those gems because you're absolutely right. Them old guys are going to be on their way out. You're going to have some new ones coming in. And, you mentioned Drake London. Can he sustain it, like, with the bad quarterback play? And it's not an indictment on his talent either. I mean, let's say the Jalen Waddle thing don't work out with the Broncos. And, I mean, I think that could be more of a letdown than people think it could be. I mean, it definitely could be a change in at the guard big time. So I like all those players, and I think that's a good way to put it and keep your headspace in that area. Like, you're going to have injuries at the running back spot for sure. That's going to happen. But at the wide receiver pool, there's depth there, right? I mean, like, so you go wading in a little bit deeper. I think you could find some gems for sure.
I'm going to just hammer down on this wide receiver pool a little bit. Like, there's just guys that I think are going to not only rise up, but we didn't expect to fall so far, right? I don't think that George Pickens automatically stays a top 10 wide receiver. Now, can he be top 12 or, high-end wide receiver 2? In all honesty, if he were to find his way onto a team where he becomes the lead guy, that's going to help him out and, of course, propels him up a little bit. But I don't see Brian Thomas Jr. staying way down there. I think that a Green Bay wide receiver maybe could end up pushing to the top 15 or whatever if they become the sole target earner or whatever. Does Marvin Harrison Jr. turn his career around with, being in a different offense and a third-year wide receiver, so on and so forth? But, like, I legitimately just think that there's going to be movement in the wide receiver class or the wide receiver pool that maybe some of it we're not going to expect, and some of it we're just going to be like, well, shit, I should have seen that coming a long time ago.
For sure. And there's value there. I mean, there's definitely value there. I'm with you, Bob. And I've been getting a lot of them players in startups and via trade in dynasty leagues. But let's go ahead, Bob. Next topic that you want to bring up, let's talk about it.
Well, this is one that if you listen to me at all, you've heard me yak about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out there. Tucker Kraft's going to be number 3 tight end. He's going to be in the top 3. Don't think anything about it. Risk it for the biscuit. Get him in the 4th or 5th round. He's just going to be a stud. And I don't care how much of this injury he's coming off of. Jordan Love loves him. Not to just double up on the love, but that's what happens when your last name's Love, so you're going to hear it. And so, but like, I think that this offense is going to absolutely roll through him. We talk about how we expect Watson and Reed and Golden to get a little bit more, to have a bump. Well, let's not forget the Tucker Kraft bump. He's going to get flooded. I absolutely believe. And then heaven forbid, the people in this room know, but if Josh Jacobs or whatever is not present, wow, Tucker Kraft could be the tight end one. When I heard somebody talk about the other day that he averages 10 yards of yak, averages a first down, like, dude, that's impossible for me to even contemplate. And I'm like, yeah, there's a reason I really like this guy. Maybe just double down. And I think we're going to the second part of this guarantee, and I hope Slim's listening, but Kyle Pitts will not be in the top 5 again. not this year. It just isn't going to happen. And I mean, top 5 on Tampa Bay weeks, right? But other than that, just stay away from it. Kyle Pitts is just dumb. But like, I really wanted to say something to that guy with the Kyle Pitts jersey on at the expo yesterday.
I'm surprised you did.
Number one, he's like, I think he was 1.5 feet taller than me, and I'm a big guy, but he looked to be a little bit heavier than me. So I was like, hey, that dude might want to wrestle. And then at that point, I'm getting old. I just can't do it. But legitimately, like, the believer in Pitts, man, go ahead. But Tucker Kraft's where it's at, in my opinion.
You know what, Bob? And I'm glad you brought that up, because you're talking like the real thing and the pretenders in the tight end room. And, I just think it with Pitts, and you know this, right? There's so many people get sucked back in. They're tantalized by the athleticism. They think that this guy, finally figured it out. Like, I'm not saying that, and I think you agree. Like, I think there'll be days maybe where Pitts does again similar to what he did last year. Like, I mean, he could do it a season or two more in his career, right? He has that high-end potential. But in the short term, I mean, he locked himself there in Atlanta. The quarterback situation's a mess. You look at Drake London, right? I think Drake London's more skilled at his position than what Kyle Pitts is at his position. Like, and he suffers, right? I mean, like, and you mentioned it, and you've said it a million times. If it wasn't for the Tampa Bay blow-ups, I mean, we were talking, tight end 14, tight end 11, tight end 15, somewhere in there.
I think it was 16 if you just took out the one game.
Right, yeah, and that was the playoff game. Yeah, the fantasy playoff game where he absolutely raked that game, and it was against Tampa Bay, and you've always said it, right? And and that's the thing, like, and it's so inconsistent, right? But with the Tucker Kraft, he's utilizing that offense. He's got a quarterback that likes him, a good quarterback, a coach that likes to utilize the tight end. It all fits in place, right? The only thing is this injury, and I think that, look, and I know you'll probably agree with me on this. Even if he starts slow, I wouldn't be shocked, and I'm not going to panic either. Talking about Tucker Kraft, right? Like, I mean, it's going to take a few weeks to really get adjusted, really feel comfortable, and I really don't think it's just the fact that, like, the leg's still bothering him or like the surgery wasn't good. I think with a lot of these players with ACL injuries, Bob, a lot of it comes down to just like, they're gun shy, right? I think they're a little bit like worried and scared because they went through all that rehab. They got hurt. They remember that. That's in the back of their mind. But once they start getting comfortable again, then it starts to build, right? And Tucker Kraft, you're absolutely right. I mean, the guy, I watched it against the Steelers. I mean, this guy, just was unbelievable. Well, these little dig routes, these little, slants, and, he's setting up like tight end pop passes. I mean, it's like ridiculous. And he was just going right through our defense. And you look at him, he don't look like that type of guy.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, he's deceivingly athletic. Yeah. And I mean, the guy, too, is a good blocker. Mm-hmm. We know that. And he's in a system, like I said, that's going to utilize him. So, contenders versus pretenders, right, in the tight end room, I think that you're right about that. And look, if you could pull that off and trade Kyle Pitts for Tucker Kraft,
oh, shoot,
that's grand theft larceny. I'm with you on that.
Well, ironically, a league that I'm in, I traded, and it's a Debbie depleted league, so the first round pick is really not very valuable. But I think the guy just seen 27 first, and he was just like, "Oh, that's it." I traded the only Kyle Pitts share I had, trust me, people, I've been trying forever to get rid of Kyle Pitts in this league, but I had to find the right deal. So I sent him Kyle Pitts and that first for Tucker Kraft straight up, and he accepted it. I'm like, yes. And it's a tight end premium league, and I have a very strong tight end room. And, we've talked about, flex and tight ends or whatever. That's a league where I'll start 4 tight ends.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That just is what it is. But on to my next topic, I think the quarterback, and I wish I had some dynasty rankings in front of me, but I really think the top 5 QB rankings, maybe even top 10 QB rankings, shuffle quite a bit this year, because I believe that Drake Maye, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love that we're talking about with Tucker Kraft. I'm trying to think of the other guy that I had in my head. I think Joe Burrow. I do believe Justin Herbert. I think a lot of these guys are going to pop back into the top 10, and some of the guys that are getting overdrafted right now are going to fall out. Oh, Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes comes back to some kind of relevance. We just suffered through, 3 years of Matt Nagy there, and I think that's what's going to hurt Jackson Dart. Number one, he's not proven, and then there's Matt Nagy on top of it. But I think that we're going to get some shuffle, and I won't be surprised if we don't see, and I know if Wiz is listening, he's probably like, oh, he's coming around, but I won't be surprised if our top 3 isn't some combination of Drake Maye, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love. Allen is getting to the point where I believe in the talent, but if all he is the running quarterback, we're going to see an injury, and it's going to be relatively catastrophic. Now, the dude's built like a tank. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but they didn't improve. They really didn't improve. They didn't put anything around him. We're still counting on a busted Dalton Kincaid. We're still counting on a Khalil Shakir. Sure, they bring in DJ Moore, who, everybody's like, oh, it'll be the best quarterback he's ever done. Whatever. It's always the narrative, right? Ironically, his best season was a 1,300-yard season with what? Justin Fields. He needs dinks and dunks. And Josh Allen really isn't that guy. And he only had 85 targets last year and really didn't look very good. DJ Moore, I don't believe, is the answer that solves the Buffalo equation. I think it's going to look a lot like the Amari Cooper transition. I think we're going to have a little bit of a youth movement, and I really think that, first off, I just think Jordan Love, I think it's really going to help that we're going to be talking about him in the top 5. Now, whether or not Josh Allen really does fall out, and he might just slightly fall out, but I think that when you're close to 70% completion percentage for Drake Maye, and you added a weapon that, 2 weapons really. I'm not trying to put Dobbs on a pedestal, but he definitely helps that offense. And then Caleb Williams, I think, maybe Moore was a hindrance. Ben Johnson's definitely legit. If he just increases to 62% completion percentage, it's going to look a lot better. And I'm not a Caleb guy. Everybody should know this. He was my 3rd QB in that class, and Jaden Daniels has fallen off, and I just don't know that. I don't know that if one more mediocre season, I think, from Jaden Daniels, we're going to quit talking about him as a top 10 quarterback.
For sure. And, we talk about the C.J. Stroud effect, right? After his rookie season, the sophomore campaign wasn't as good. There was a letdown on that, right? And then, this year, like you said, Bob, if it goes bad for Jaden Daniels again, it's going to be another disappointment, and it could even get worse. Then that's when the value drops out. So you got to be careful. But, I like what you're saying, and I definitely can pick up and follow that because, I've talked about the running quarterback. You've talked about the running quarterback a lot, whether it's Josh Allen, whether it's Lamar Jackson, who may it be. Look at Cam Newton. That's all you got to look at. The fall off of Cam Newton was just horrible, right? Now, I think with Josh Allen, you're in a little bit better shape because he can throw the ball, but he's not like one of these elite passers, right? He's probably in the top 10. But he's not one of the top 3 type of guys in my mind as far as throwing the ball all over the line. He's got a big arm, but we're talking accuracy. We're talking breaking down defenses, all that stuff. And what makes him special too is even when he's not running, when he breaks the pocket, right, and plays break down, and he can throw the ball downfield. I seen it with Big Ben. Whenever that athleticism goes down, right, the big play potential also goes down. and you look at it like this, like, and I've said it, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, like if you're valuing these guys in the top 3 at your quarterback position, which a lot of people should right now, enjoy the good days while you have them.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you'll be out of them before you realize they're gone sometimes. And like if Josh Allen goes from quarterback 1 to quarterback 11, value-wise, that's a hell of a drop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's horrible for your fantasy team, like horrible, but it's definitely from a value perspective a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, don't hear what I'm not saying. You're going to get a lot of good years still out of Josh Allen.
Oh, no doubt.
I just think that they didn't do a lot to help him out. You know, they lost one of their better offensive linemen, and I'm going to forget the dude's name, but I think his last name's Edwards or whatever. I think it's a guard. So protection's not going to be as well. You know what I mean? The offensive line play for the Buffalo Bills is just getting worse. Things got to get better or whatever. And I'm like, well, and it's like, and maybe I'm a year early. I really think I may be a year early the more and more I talk about it. But like, it's just like you didn't give this guy any help. Like, and more than anything, and it's like, well, I mean, it's like DJ Moore, you know, and like I said, I think we've seen this song before. You know what I mean? It's like we've watched this movie and it hasn't played out. And if your goal is to win the Super Bowl and you were looking for a great change, why did you just go to your offensive coordinator?
Exactly. And that drove me nuts from the start, right? I mean, like, I think it was a horrible hire. I mean, you're hiring from the inside, like you said. Like, really nothing's changing. This was his offense, right? And, I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe they think he's better from a leadership standpoint, but I just feel like they've been an ultimate underachiever. And I'm like you, Bob. When you have ultimate underachieving, you got to go out and get somebody that's going to help put you over the top. But, you know, I mean, I guess enough on the Buffalo Bills. But I think I agree with you, Bob, from the standpoint of, like, I'm not going to do it now, and I think you're going to still have those mega Josh Allen seasons probably for the next couple seasons, right? But you really got to look at this and be like, hey, I got to be careful with what I have here, because if I don't take advantage of it at the right time, I'm going to lose a ton of value as far as what I can re-equip my dynasty team with, right, via trade. So, I mean, I'm going to look at it that way. And as you said, Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, I mean, Jordan Love, I mean, some of these younger guys, Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow's healthy, he's a top 5 guy.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's not many guys I think that could throw 50 touchdowns.
No.
Joe Burrow is one of them, you know, for sure. And that's where I'm at with Patrick Mahomes, right? They got to get that offensive line right, and he's more equipped to do better with less talent. I mean, Josh Allen's been doing it, right? But I think that Patrick Mahomes is a little bit better than what Josh Allen is. I mean, you know, as far as doing a lot with less.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to winning, right? I mean, no doubt about it. But, I mean, I'm like you, Nagy's out of there. I think that'll help. And I think when you look at Patrick Mahomes, I think this is the last thing I'll bring up on the quarterback end of things, Bob. But when you look at Patrick Mahomes, I think he's like the perfect buy for any dynasty situation, right? Like, I mean, if you're a contender and you add him as a quarterback too, how much, I mean, like, you would sleep like a baby, I think, just knowing that, like, I mean, even if it's a little offseason this year, you just inherited a quarterback 1 at your quarterback 2 slot, right? Like, it's all going to come together at some point. I believe in that team. And, like, if you're a middle-of-the-road team and, you know, you're just looking to shake it up, you're getting an asset that could really help you down the line and really could increase his value. And if you're a rebuilder, I mean, you're getting a guy that's going to be around for the next 7 years and still going to be a solid quarterback in this league. So, I mean, I look at it any way you want to cut it. I think it's a good buy for any situation on any dynasty roster.
Yeah. I kind of want to just pick your brain and also kind of get confirmation, my thought process on, like, Miami, Arizona, the Jets. I'm trying to think of who I want to say is the top 5 worst teams, right? Does Tennessee fall back, or do they move up? I think that they probably move up. So I kind of want to leave. Oh, Cleveland. How did I forget Cleveland? Right. So there's 4. Who's number 5? Who am I missing
in the worst team rankings?
The worst team.
I would say, probably looking at it right now, I would have to put in that conversation. I think Atlanta could be in the conversation. I mean, I'm not saying it could happen, but they could be in the conversation. Carolina could be. I think they're a little bit more of a pretender, but I think they do enough that they could be around 500. But yeah, I mean, I don't know the Raiders. I mean, we know that they did draft Mendoza, but there's still a lot of holes on that roster.
Yeah, I think I would have to go the Raiders. And Carolina's, I think that we talked about this a little bit, and we even hinted at it in this episode. If Carolina falls back and their offense is bad again, then they're not going to fire Canales. I can't imagine them firing Canales because, first off, he got him to the playoffs his first year as a coach or second year?
First year
as a coach. So it's like, seriously, like you can't let that go. But like I said, man, if somehow or another Baker Mayfield ends up on that team, then all they got to do is kind of concentrate on the defense. Wow. You know what I mean? I think that would be really good for the squad. And then on top of that, like it's just those 5 teams are legitimately got to be the worst 5 teams in the league. And I mean, and that was just picking. I can't believe I didn't think about Vegas in all honesty, because you're not wrong. They do have a lot of holes still. I mean, I really like Brock Bowers, and I think that Ashton Genty has a pretty decent year this year. And from what I've seen in Mendoza, I'm not sold, right, that he's the franchise quarterback, but I'm not sure that he's not. You know what I'm saying? It's entirely possible, but I also think that there's not enough on defense. I mean, they just traded away the guy that was like their first-round pick like 3 or 4 years ago, Tyree Wilson or whatever. But that's what they do, you know, project guys. Like, it's like eventually you're going to have to turn the project in and try and compete and whatever. But they invested a lot on defense this year, but there's still a lot of holes. So I hopefully, you know, I expected Brady to have his hands on it a little bit sooner, but I don't know. And the offensive line is getting repaired, but it's still in the shop. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel about that. And Cleveland is a mess on top of a mess. I don't know. You know, it's like if a bird came by and crapped at the dump, you know, like you're not picking out that that piece of turd or whatever on the top of the bird pile, but until they figure out who can throw the ball, I think that they're making strides. I really do, but they're just bad. And then, you know, Arizona, I was listening to a guy the other day, and I think he was a beat writer, and he's like, "Oh, they got to try and win 7 games," and I'm like, good luck, buddy. I just don't know. First off, you're just pissing off the guy that you're going to have play quarterback for you right off the bat. Like, what is the plan there?
Well, in that division too, Bob. I mean, like that's another thing. Like they are a victim in more ways than one. Like, I mean, they're self-inflicted victims. But yet again, too, like it's pretty cruel to have them in that NFC West where they're not probably going to win a game in that division.
Yeah, and then last, I don't know if I've said all. I mean, of course, the Jets. The Jets are a laughing stock, but we don't need to hammer them too much. There's pieces on the Jets we like, of course, that they're going to be in the top 5. That's not a big deal. But I think Miami, is the low-hanging fruit. And I think Miami's going to surprise people with not drafting a quarterback. I think that Malik Willis ends up staying. Now, does this mean that he's the franchise QB? No. I just think that they really had to make some kind of an investment. And if all you do is keep turning over the same position, you're not gaining any ground. They need to use that first-round pick to get something other than just the quarterback. There's too many holes to just get one player and hope that solves everything. You know, if you put whoever the best quarterback is ever, Josh Allen, you know, Patrick Mahomes, if you we've seen what happens when Patrick Mahomes is behind Swiss cheese of an offensive line. He's running for his life, and it's just not going to happen. So they got a guy that can run for his life, and it's still, you know, the offensive line actually is kind of coming around in Miami, but they don't have any weapons. So that's what they need to do with that pick or whatever. So, like, I think that my bold prediction is you're going to hear a lot about the culture of Miami, the Jets, Cleveland. You know, when we start talking about these teams being absolute dumpster fires and not having a plan, that's going to be a big part of the culture shock this year. These teams that just, it's obvious you don't have any plan, you know, and I hope that Jerry's world gets it together. But as long as his little meddling hands are in it, then who knows? And I mean, one that keeps sticking in my head that was bold that I wanted to say, Dak Prescott's going to end up being a top 5 QB if he stays healthy.
I can endorse you on that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we talked about that on the deep dive. That episode will be coming out later in the week for the listeners. But look, I can endorse you on that. If he's healthy, he's always in that mix. Always. I mean, and we talked about the disrespect, right? And I think the health is a concern. But outside of that, you shouldn't really show him much disrespect as a fantasy option.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting to wake up now, so more things are firing in my brain, so that we're going all over the place. But yeah, I just legitimately think that there's a good chance that those 2 wide receivers could be in the top 12. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to. I think as a group, especially our group, we don't really believe in Javonte Williams. You know,
right.
At least. So if anything happens, and again, that's one of those ones that, like Ty alluded to yesterday, we were talking about it. Like, if he gets nicked up at all, you know what I mean? It's not a dynasty asset. You know what I mean? At that point, then, you know, Dak has got to stay healthy, and he's going to be throwing the ball over the yard. And the defense didn't get that much better. It got better, but not that much better. And so did Cincinnati. And I think if Cincinnati cracks me up because they have one of the worst. It's 2 teams that did the exact same thing. We're just going to build our extremely awesome wide receiver room and not even remotely work on our offensive line.
My thing is this, Bob. Look, I agree with you. So you're saying the top 5 worst teams is going to be the Raiders, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Jets. I mean, them type guys are going to be in Arizona. Them are going to be your top 5 worst.
Yeah, they'll be the worst 5.
So let me just say this. I agree with you. I think that's a pretty strong list, right? I think that's definitely in the realm of possibility. So you're saying them teams are ones that are going to be, you know, picking right up around the top 5 again. But let me just tell you one wild card, because when you were talking, it hit me, and I've talked about this team a lot, and it definitely couldn't go this way, but it could be a bomb crater. Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
And if I'm a Jets fan, I am excited. Because, like, I mean, look, you could have 2 top 10 picks this year in this draft. I mean, look, as you said, it's kind of stupid how they traded away these young players just to get first. But in this instance, right, it could have really paid out. I mean, as far as, like, if the Colts are that bad, I mean, there's just a big risk with Indianapolis, right? They usually can muster up enough ass to be about middle of the road. But, man, oh, man, like, if everything don't go right with Daniel Jones as far as the play and the injury – I mean, we know Quentin Nelson's a big, big part of that offensive line. If he goes down with an injury, I mean, and the defense is just meh, you know, so it could really, and we talk about like the Titans maybe taking a step forward. I mean, not a huge step, but a little step.
Yeah.
Jacksonville won the division last year, and Houston's got a stout defense. So, I mean, this could be a tough break for Indianapolis, too. I just wanted to bring them up.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I think that they're just a curly. I mean, obviously, Daniel Jones has to stay healthy for this to even matter. If he falls, then yeah, they'll probably be in the top 5. Whatever team falls out of that 5 is up to them. But I think they're a curly hair out of the top 5 with Daniel Jones. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's so I wouldn't be surprised if they're picking in the top 10, and they're not picking in the top 10. It'll be the Jets picking. If the Jets end up with 2 first or whatever, I'm sure Aaron Glenn will be pounding his fist together at whatever bar he's watching the draft from, because I'm not sure it's going to be in the Jets locker room or the Jets draft room, I guess. But yeah.
Well, let me just say though, Bob, I think we keep our head around that space. These are teams to watch as far as like, you know, what's going to happen with their dynasty futures, because they're going to have high draft capital. I agree with you. And I love what you said about Dak. And, you know, you talked about those 2 wide receivers. I mean, he's good enough he can carry him, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. And it's just like Joe Burrow. Like, if he's healthy, you mentioned Cincinnati, this offense is going to roll, right? I don't really love over-investing in T. Higgins just because it's always a letdown. And like he's just the odd man out to me. Not saying he don't help Cincinnati from an NFL standpoint with their offense, but as far as fantasy, I think he's just a little bit overvalued. But, man, oh, man, I mean, Joe Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, if I have any of them 3, you know, I'm feeling real good. As long as they're healthy, I'm feeling real good.
You know what cracks me up is I heard somebody talking about the other day, like one of the big burning issues in Cincinnati is who's going to be their wide receiver 3. I'm like, why do you need 3? You know what I mean? Like, it could be any schlub off the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it don't matter who it is.
Like, they're not going to get a whole lot of targets. I mean, sure, it's nice to have somebody in case T goes down, because that's kind of a norm, right? You know, I'm sure that they would love to have a Flournoy that's the guy in Dallas or whatever, you know, or something like that. That
Juwan Jennings would have been a decent ad, right?
Sure. Or, you know, Jalen Naylor, you know, the wide receiver one in Vegas. It's hard to get through that without, you know, laughing anyway. But legitimately, sure. But like, I think Mike Gesicki takes a step up. I've heard great things about Eric All. I think if you want to talk about a tight end that may blow up that you're not really seeing, and I mean blow up for Eric All might just end up being 12, you know what I mean?
Right.
600 yards and, you know, 8 scores or whatever. But they seem to be really high on him and think that after 2 ACL injuries, he's finally going to be healthy, which, you know, I mean, good luck to people with 2 ACL injuries, but I've had a meniscus surgery, and I can't even fathom running a route.
But still, though, I mean, that's a guy you could pick up off waivers.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, and that's a gamble, right? Especially if you're a bad team, right? Like, that's a gamble. If you always fill up, I'm telling you right now, those rebuilders out there, if you have roster space, add people, right? I mean, that's a guy you could add, and who knows if he could get up around 12 even, right? You can flip him for a second or something. Yeah. And, I mean, a 27-second for a guy like that would be, you know, huge. Or even 2/3 in a lower-end player, whatever.
The only thing I worry about is like, I think there's a lot of teams that I'm excited for the 2 tight end sets, right? I don't know that I am in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? Or even the first tight end in Cincinnati, because you're getting flooded. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are just going to get flooded with targets, and, you know, what scraps there are. But even still, like, if there's even the hint of a promise of the guy, you know, you can weasel somebody out of a third and maybe a second or whatever, and you're not wrong. Picking up guys up as rebuilders, you know, Strand Crew, like, do that. Work your waiver wires. Pick up guys. If they even have a twinge, you could probably get, you know, some kind of capital for them later. And even if it's a third, 2/3, try and ship it for a second, 2 seconds, try and ship it for a first, you know, so on and so forth. Work your way up the ladder, as TJ likes to say. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, Dynasty's fun and exciting and very unpredictable.
Absolutely. You got to start somewhere to build up your asset cabinet, right? Especially with bad rosters. So, yeah, no doubt about it, man. Use that roster space. But, Bob, let me just say this, right? What a great episode. We did the Culture Shock here live together. It was fun. And we're going to finish up here at the Fantasy Expo today. And we'll be back at it. The season getting close. I know you're ready to rock. But, guys, listen, we appreciate you tuning in here for the Culture Shock. If you are enjoying the content on Spotify, Apple Pod, Stitcher, Amazon, any of those big podcasting platforms and you haven't yet, please follow and 5-star the show if you enjoy the content. Really helps. We greatly appreciate you and having you each and every week here with us. If you want to check out Dynasty DNA Network, check it out on YouTube. Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football on YouTube. Go over there, subscribe. Check out more videos coming over there. The TikTok's building. Go over there. Dynasty DNA on TikTok. The Facebook page. We got all kinds of great social media platforms. And, of course, follow us on X at DynastyDNA_. Listen, I know I speak for Big Culture Bob and everyone here at the Dynasty DNA Network when I say I hope you guys have a great week ahead of you. Your Monday starts out good. Football is almost back, but we'll see you all on the next episode of The Culture Shock.